Every year, Value Electronics puts out what they call a shootout. Now, for retrospect, Value Electronics is a retail store that has a history of fudging these types of shootouts. They are very, very disingenuous with the results, and we're going to talk about that in this video and expose that in this video for those who need honesty. Because it seems when you watch Digital Trends, HDTV Test, and all of the really larger AV YouTubers, they all kind of work hand in hand together to push one narrative. What each one of them says is completely true, and they don't make mistakes. They are just 100% true. So when guys like myself who want to be independent step on scene and say, well, actually, that information is wrong, makes people look at me as the bad guy. And it really does piss me off. I would be lying if I told you it didn't, because they work together to defraud the public, and there's nothing worse than that. They are a well-oiled machine. Hey guys, I'll give you credit, congratulations. But this machine isn't perfect, and I'm going to find those weaknesses, and when I do, videos like this are gonna happen. So, this dude owns Value Electronics. You're looking at the owner right here, and every year he cherry picks, by the way, who he thinks is best to talk about TVs. Now, they boast having experts in the field, but you guys already know Techno Dad's sitting on the panel judging these televisions along with other cherry-picked YouTubers. I'm just going to say it like this. Techno Dad is an audio guy that literally has never calibrated a TV a day in his life. He has a zero calibration background experience. He's not an industry professional, right? That being said, he's there. Now, last year, they erroneously reported that the Z9F was better than the Q9FN. They claimed that the Q9FN had crushing, and you lose all this detail and all this information. The same thing that Arting said about my Samsung Q8FN with the star crushing and then with the low peak brightness. And then, of course, Vincent and all the other guys backed up Arting's with that misinformation saying, yeah, there's star crushing and yeah, this TV is only 1400 nits. But then I run the data and you guys saw I got 1900 nits. And recently, I debunked the subtitle issue as well, where they claim that there's clouding and blooming in the subtitles of the Samsung Q9 or Q8FN. So go watch those videos in my backlog if you haven't, because there's a big problem, right? I'm not making these videos to try to be some jerk. I'm trying to help, because honestly, dude, this is bad, dude. They are literally lying through their teeth about the results of these TVs and what they are and are not truly capable of. And it really flusters me and pisses me off, because it's just why are you lying? Why? And so that's my big thing. So as you guys can clearly see, last year, the Z9F showing all this detail and the Q9FN showing black crushing. And by the way, I also exposed last year's shootout as well. Now, when we're looking at the numbers, they claim that for saturation of color, you have the Z9F beating out the Q90R. And they go in and talk about for the overall bright room performance experience for day and for night, whatever you're watching, SDR or whatever, they're claiming that the Z9F is brighter, whatever the case may be there, fine, whatever. But if you look at all the various different things and you get to an overall and you're looking at all these categories, it just kind of seems like when you're looking at the saturation of color part, it just kind of seems like they don't truly know what they're talking about. Because they're saying that for saturation of color, the A9G is more saturated than the Q90R. It has better color saturation, really? Okay, I found that strange. And also they say it has better color accuracy. And if you match up this chart and look at this chart and message me in the comment section and stop by Facebook, I'll send you this chart if you can't find it online, so you can do what I did and investigate this, right? So they're claiming that basically the Samsung Q90R is not only less accurate for color than the A9G, but it also has less saturation. That was very interesting to me, those two things, particularly because I note that they were bashing the Samsung for being oversaturated, and most people like going to that and looking at saturation and thinking, oh, that's better, I like that better. And then now they're saying that the A9G was the more saturated one? I find that funny. Another thing I found funny was when they take their test measurements for brightness, they only go by second by second by second by second. They don't stop and wait for it to ramp up and down on a variable level like these things do in real life. And I found that also to be very weird. Another thing I found weird is, if you notice, they have the BVM X300 off. So they're not taking the reference brightness to see where the quotation mark reference should be. They're just going off of each individual TV to let you know how bright they are and are not. That's funny, because if you're doing a reference test, so to speak, and it's for Shootout, you should be comparing everything to the reference monitor by example. Now, another thing I found funny is this is 2019, is it not? And they're doing a Shootout on a 2016 broadcast monitor or a reference monitor. This is what they're doing. They're using the BVM X300 over the brand new X300 or X310 that has been out for the longest time now. And sitting here trying to pretend like OLED is the best technology, number one, it can't be beaten, number two. That little nice statement came out from Digital Trends today, essentially with his A9G review claiming it's the best and it's OLED and all this. Go watch that ignorant crap. It bothered me because I know the truth about it, but for you guys watching like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, unsuspecting of the fox that's in the den, I'm telling you right now, you're getting eaten alive and taken for a ride, quite frankly and literally, right? And it bugs me, right? Because it's like, okay, so he's using a 2016 reference monitor, even though it's 2019. They're a retail store, by the way, so don't give me that crap about they couldn't get the $30,000 reference monitor. Makes no difference. They're a retail store. They have access to TVs and displays. So they're choosing to do an old comparison off of old industry standards back in 2016 when HDR first started coming into its own, number one, and number two, before the new implementations of how displays should look were brought into play. So just let that sink in. So this is already an inaccurate Shootout if we're going from a reference standpoint, because when you're trying to test current reference levels off of 2019 models, you should be using current reference monitors. Another problem with this Shootout is the fact that when people are in Hollywood and they are accessing reference monitors to grade their content, they are using the original video source. Home theater enthusiasts and myself and anyone who's ever shot a video or knows anything about how video works, when you have an original file that holds so much more information than the scaled down version you would pump out to YouTube or on Blu-ray or 4K discs and distribute. You're literally losing a ton of information, and so they have to, in the post calibration of their content and the grading of their content and the manufacturing of their content, they have to decide what scale backs and what downgrades to make when they put it on that disc, because they can't take that entire massive file that they shot on their crazy 16K camera and you see it on your TV. They have to downsample it and downscale it and downres it. And the fact that that's not being conveyed when they're talking about a reference test, I also find that funny. But now let's see what their TVs actually looked like here. Now, the reference monitor is in the middle, the BVM X300, and the Q90R to the left, and the A9G to the right. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm looking at the reference monitor, which, by the way, is an OLED that has no blue tint, so just saying. And you notice that the A9G is way off from the BVM X300 for this particular scene of Aquaman. And the Q90R is not only more saturated, but it also is more color accurate, because if we look at the two monitors, the BVM X300 and the Q90R actually displayed more accuracy than what the Sony is showing, where it's just a dark image. And that's the problem with these old AV guys. They want to push the old standards, 100 nits or lower, and a dim, washed out, dull, lifeless image. And literally every single one of them, HD TV Test, Artings.com, Digital Trends, those are the top three manipulators out there right now that go in this big giant circle of handshaking one another and doing the whole, backing up almost. They reinforce each other's words. And the proof is in the pudding. Look at the pictures. Here's another one. Q90R to the left, A9G to the right, broadcast monitor in the middle. The Q90R, more saturated, more color accurate, more legit. The A9G, not so much. Let's do another one. Again, looking in the middle at the broadcast monitor. What skin tone looks closer to the broadcast monitor or the reference monitor that they're showing here? They've got the Q90R to the left looking a lot more realistic, a lot more colorful, just like what I'm seeing on that reference monitor. A9G, not that slice. Let's do another one. You've got the Q90R sitting right here next to the broadcast monitor, and I don't know what they're seeing to get those scores. I don't know what they're doing to get those scores, but you get my point, right? The point is, there is a big problem with honesty in the audiovisual space, because anyone can jump up and say, oh, I'm a professional calibrator. Oh, I'm an industry expert. I'm a professional reviewer, just simply by having hundreds of thousands of subscribers. But let's be real here. How many of them have ever left a 1-star review? I say this a lot, but ask yourself. None of them have left a 1-star review. They are social media influencers trying to reinforce each other's publication so that when they report, they seem omnipotent. They seem like the know. They are the industry professionals. These guys, by the way, go to CES every year, and they network with all of the same marketing managers. They are a team. They are a networked group, right? Go look at my reviews on exposing all of them. You have John Archer showing up on all of these major publications, trusted reviews. I mean, ABS, AV Forbes. I mean, like, go look, go research this. These AV guys are the biggest crooks out there, and if you let them, they will con you, because the images that I'm showing you don't lie. The images that I'm showing you are true. And if you don't believe that this was the positioning of these TVs, and maybe I've moved something around in Photoshop, go check it. Go verify what I said. Go see if the Q90R was to the left, the BVM monitor was in the middle, and the A9G was to the right. I guarantee you the answer will be yes. And I'm telling you right now, the A9G is not color accurate. The A9G is not more saturated than the Q90R. Facts, dude. Absolute facts. Sorry to say, but reality is reality, and I'm giving you a dose of that right now. So when you see images like this, and you can clearly see that when we're talking about accuracy, right? I see a bright color coming off of that OLED reference monitor. I see a bright color coming off of the Q90R, but when we get to the A9G, it's definitely dim looking. You lose a lot of the highlights that you had on that reference monitor. Her hair is nowhere near as red. The environment's nowhere near as warm. And ultimately, that's the problem, right? It's not an accurate television, but these quacks will go around with their little test measurements. They'll go around and put out all these charts on how they measured it. And when you look at what they say for color saturation, that goes to the A9G at 8.63 for the day room, for the SDR day. And color accuracy was 88. And the Q90R was only 7.38 and 7.13. And then we look at the SDR reference mode, right? Then you've got 7.50 across the board for the Q90R, 9.25 for the A9G, 9.38 for the A9G. These are bogus markings, okay? And I can't show you any clearer than showing you exactly their setup, exactly how they had it on the exact movie that they were running. That they just lied, dude. They blatantly lied to you. So when you see that last year I exposed them for their misinformation on the Q9FN crushing all the detail. You can't see anything, right? Nothing, right? The Q9DR, or sorry, the Q9FN, crap. The Z9F, oh, but you saw everything then, right? Yeah, okay. And then now, this year, they're doing more of the same with this owner quack of, again, Value Electronics, a retail store, trying to sell you the most expensive thing in his freaking shop, which is the A9G, trying to sit there and sing its praises high, talking about how great it is. But understand this. They want to sell you the most expensive thing, so that will always be the best to them. They want to sell you on the idea of old, outdated reference standards because that's what they got their profession in. That's what they grew up around. That's what they like the most. That's what they're used to. Old dogs can't learn new tricks type thing. Let them have it. But if you're somebody that wants the honest information, take what I just showed you and use it to make your decision. Do not trust Value Electronics. They are disreputable as far as hiring judges like Chana D from TechnoDad alone. Just the fact that he's there reviewing TVs. I mean, would you go to Pep Boys or AutoZone and have them install your television? Because that's essentially what's happening here. You're taking somebody from an entirely different field and classification and putting them in the world of audiovisual electronics and telling them, hey, listen, you're now going to be a display judge and judge this display. He has no idea what he's talking about or what to look for. literally factually from a professional standpoint, doing this every day like I do it every day as an actual professional field grade calibrator, he has no idea what he's doing. So why is he judging TVs? Well, you know why. To fix the numbers for these guys so that they can help sell their TVs in their retail store. Because what? He's a shill. I also proved that. And when I proved that, he had my video taken down because maybe I made too big of a point, huh? Thanks for watching the #1 brand in honesty. And until the next video, I'll see you guys later.